Hey y'all! I'm back again with another Pokemon Challenge video. Pokemon Red with only Rhyhorn was a struggle at times, so this time I wanted to use a Pokemon that I think will really impress. Can I beat Pokemon Red using only one Pinsir? As usual, the rules are I can only use Pinsir in battle, and I can't use any items in battle. By the way, if you like this kind of content and want to see more, be sure to subscribe and check out more of the videos on my channel. Pinsir is a really interesting Pokemon. It's got pretty good stats all around, but like with many of these Pokemon, the move pool is not that diverse. There's some good moves in there, but just a few. Pinsir does boast one of the best attack stats in the game, so that's great. Pinsir and Scyther often get compared to each other, and I've already done a Scyther challenge, so let's see how the two fare against each other. Well, neither one has a bug move to speak of, so I guess they have that in common. Ikuzo! Off at Professor Oak's lab, I use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Bulbasaur with Pinsir so that our rival will pick Charmander. Charizard is a fire type, and we're a bug, so it should surprise no one to find out that it will be the hardest for Pinsir to deal with. Especially since it will know Fire Spin, which is not only super effective, but is a stun locking move in this game. This run's gonna be a real work of art, so I nickname our Pinsir Leonardo da Vinci. Pinsir starts off with only Vice Grip, but I mean, compared to what we usually get, Barrage or Tackle, it's actually a pretty great move, and strong for this early in the game. We make quick work of the rival's Charmander, even after it lowers our attack with Growl. After that, Pinsir completely catches me off guard by beating Brock at level 16. Unlike with Rhyhorn, Pinsir doesn't resist Brock's moves. We just do so much damage that we outpace him in terms of damage. You can see just how big those damage chunks are compared to a run like Execute. If Execute's damage chunks were blue cheese crumbles, then Pinsir's damage chunks are like a whole block of Gouda cheese. Wow, I must really be hungry. Well, I get to Cerulean City and take on the rival Bubs once again, and Pinsir is still outpacing most Pokemon in terms of damage. Aside from some scattered rock types here and there, Pinsir just kinda blasts through most Pokemon with Vice Grip. Bubs' Charmander doesn't even use Ember, so we take him down with little trouble. Next up I take on Misty, and like many other challenge runs we've done, she decides to spam X-Defense instead of going for her strong water type attacks, which would actually do very decent damage. However, while she's busy floundering, Pinsir is busy putting in work. Vice Grip slams her Starfish and we win ourselves the Cascade Badge. Aboard the SS Anne, I pick up the TM for Body Slam and teach it to Pinsir, and this is arguably Pinsir's best move for the entire game. With Body Slam, we one-hit KO a lot of Pokemon at this point, and in fact during this battle, we OHKO every single Pokemon but the Pidgeotto, but that's to be expected since it's thicker than a Snicker. Also during this battle, we learn Seismic Toss, more on that later. For now, we leave the cruise ship and head straight to the Vermilion City Gym to take on Lieutenant Surge. Our Pinchy Boy Body Slam Surge's squishy electric Pokemon for a really easy win. Hopefully this bone-crushing power lasts throughout the rest of the run. Next up, it's taking on the rival again in the Pokemon Tower in Lavender Town. Remember how before I was doting on Pinsir's strength? Well, it's definitely starting to slow down a bit, and this is where that becomes apparent. Pinsir's still strong, but Gyarados slams most of our health with Dragon Rage, and on top of that, Charmeleon would have probably knocked us out with Ember, but Pinsir slams it with a critical hit Body Slam before it actually gets the chance to do anything. So I guess we take those? Well, moving on! At this point, we take on Erica at the Grass Gym in Celadon City, and there's nothing to sweat with this one. We're a bug type, so we resist her grass type moves. It's not very often in Pokemon Red where I can say something positive about being a bug type. In almost every other instance, Bug gets the shaft in this game. Body Slams 2-hit KO on each of her Pokemon, so it's not long before we have wilted her plants. Now I'm going to take on Giovanni in the Rocket Game Corner hideout in Celadon City. It's been a while since I had to take on any major rock types, but thankfully now we have Seismic Toss, which helps to bypass this issue. Seismic Toss does damage equal to the user's level, and since most of the rock types in this game have lower HP, it's usually a 2-hit KO. Next up is Koga, and along the way I stopped by the Sylph Company building to pick up the TM for Swords Dance. Swords Dance raises our attack by 2 stages, and not only that, it allows us to grab Badge Boost. You know that old chestnut that I never shut up about. The short version is, every time our stats are modified, all of our badge boosts to stats are reapplied. After beating Koga, I head straight back to the Sylph Company building to take on the rival Bubs. With Swords Dance now, we not only can boost our attack to blistering heights, but we're able to badge boost our speed, which is important because otherwise, Alakazam, and more importantly Charizard, would outspeed us and do all kinds of damage. In fact, I don't think we could beat this one without the badge boost to speed. Right after that though, we go beat up Giovanni, and he's not even able to hang with our buggy boy. Nidorino spams Poison Sting because it thinks it's super effective, and that allows us to set up all 3 Swords Dances with no trouble. After that, everything goes down in a single hit, except for Rhyhorn, which only survived because we leveled up and lost our additional badge boost to attack. But it didn't really do anything anyways. So next up is Sabrina, and all it takes is 1 Swords Dance to call this one a wrap. I immediately knock out the Kadabra to avoid being hit with a Confusion or Psychic, and then set up all 3 Swords Dances on the Mr. Mime, which often spams moves like Barrier and Light Screen that we don't care about. Alakazam still outspeeds, but it uses Psywave so we win. Next up is what I thought would be the hardest gym battle for Pinsir, the Fire-type Gym Leader Blaine. His lead Growlithe uses Ember for pretty significant damage, and we can't set up 3 Swords Dances or we'll get completely roasted. So the strategy here is to only set up 2 Swords Dances. Yeah, Pinsir's pretty strong. Now it's time for Pinsir to take on Giovanni one last time for that last gym badge. At this point in the run, Pinsir has learned Harden, which boosts defense by 1 stage, but you already know why we really want it. That's right, Badge Boost! We can get more Badge Boost with Harden alone than with just Swords Dance. But why not use both? I use as many Hardens as possible, which is actually more than 6 because his Rhyhorn keeps lowering my defense with Leer, which also adds more badge boosts. By the time all of this boosting and schmoosting is done, Pinsir's resisted Body Slam is almost able to 1-hit KO all of his Pokemon, well except for Rhydon of course, which is still a 2-hit KO. Man, badge boosting is just so broken in this game. Before the rival fight, after Giovanni, we get the TM for Mimic from the Copycat Girl in Saffron City, and use it to copy Agility on the Pidgeot, which not only boosts our speed, but also gives us plenty of badge boosts as well. Between Swords Dance, Harden, and Mimic, there isn't a stat in the game that we can't boost. Hey! With Agility and Swords Dance, Pinsir is like a freight train coming, all gas, no brakes. Bubs' Pokemon get bulldozed like a family-owned business next to a Walmart. Here are the stats going into the Elite Four. Pinsir is only at level 47, and that should tell you everything you need to know about this Pokemon. It's so incredibly strong in a challenge run like this. And at this point, the challenge isn't, can I win with Pinsir, but more so, how low of a level can I win with Pinsir? First up is Lorelei, and the strategy is not to boost right away. Use Body Slam to get Lorelei to use Rest with Dugong, then boost with Swords Dance while it's asleep. Cloyster goes down in a few hits, and technically you could use Mimic to copy Amnesia on Slowbro, but there's really no need. Pinsir already outspeeds all of her Pokemon with Badge Boost, and with maxed out attack, she just doesn't stand a chance. Normally after this battle, I would use a Rare Candy to reset our experience points so we don't level up during the battle with Bruno to maintain our Badge Boost, but I don't do that here because I actually really want to see how low of a level we can do this with, and we don't actually need Badge Boost for Bruno per se. Right away Onix comes out and I start clicking Harden to boost our defense, and eventually Onix locks itself into Rage, which is just an awful move for him, but a great move for us. I can easily set up all 6 Hardens and all 3 Swords Dances, while Bruno uses piddly little Rages. Hitmonchan actually survives because we get a critical hit which ignores our stat boost, but the rest of Bruno's Pokemon go down easy peasy. Even cooler here is that we're still only level 49. Which I find incredibly impressive, and I can't stress that point enough. I was not expecting Pinsir to be this good. But, like with a lot of these runs, next up is Agatha, and she's the real issue in the Elite Four. Her Pokemon love to spam annoying status moves that do things like put us to sleep, cause confusion and paralysis, and even the bad Poison Affliction from Toxic. You might be wondering, how can we even fight Agatha's Ghost Pokemon with only a normal type attacking move? And the answer of course is Mimic. We start the battle by boosting our stats with Harden to try to lure out the Golbat, so it will use Haze. I use Harden instead of Swords Dance because confusion damage is based on the difference between your attack and defense, so Swords Dance would actually make us take insane recoil damage from confusion. Once Golbat comes out, we use Mimic to copy Wing Attack, which we can use to hit all the ghosts. This is the strategy I was supposed to use with Scyther, but if you remember I accidentally sold Mimic during that run and had to beat Agatha using Bide. Dear Lord, for the pain I suffered, please go check out that video after this one if you haven't already. After Agatha, it's time to take on the last Elite Four member, Lance, and this one is pretty straightforward, but still requires a little bit of strategy. I boost immediately with Harden to raise our defense, and a Hyper Beam isn't the end of the world because the recharge turn gives us an extra turn to raise our stats. Swords Dance and Harden on the Gyarados, then use Mimic to copy Agility on the Dragonair to raise our speed, and also Badge Boost. Ideally, you get enough boosts to outspeed and 1-KO the Aerodactyl, which knows the super effective Wing Attack and loves to critical hit. Speaking of crits, Pinsir in this battle gets a couple of critical hits, which ignore all of our attack boost and let Lance's Pokemon survive. It's super annoying, but this battle is still pretty consistent even with all of this. Nowhere near as annoying as that battle with Agatha. Finally, it's time to take on the champion, our rival Bubs, and I can't believe that we're taking him on at only level 51. That's seriously nuts. For comparison, Scyther would have been at least level 56 going into the champion battle, had I not had to jack it up to beat Agatha. Again, go check out that video after this one if you haven't already. Right away, Pidgeot comes out and we set up Swords Dance, and Pidgeot mirror moves to copy our Swords Dance, and we get slammed with a huge wing attack. Alakazam goes down in one hit, thankfully, and Rhydon comes out, and we have to set up the rest of our Swords Dances, mostly because of the Exeggutor. But that's okay, because there's a 50% chance each turn that Rhydon goes for a Leer or Tail Whip to give us even more badge boosts. Sadly, we can't avoid leveling up in the middle of this battle, even with using a rare candy, so no matter what, we're gonna lose our badge boost. So once Gyarados comes out, I grab a few Hardens just to badge boost our speed, so we will outspeed the Charizard. With the extra speed, we outspeed the fire-breathing Drake and smash it into oblivion with our buggy little boy. And with that, the challenge is over. Pinsir was such a beast, beating the game at only level 53. Who would have ever guessed that Pinsir would be so good? Well, as always, I want to thank you for making it to the end of this video. These videos are a lot of fun, but also a lot of work, so I really do appreciate it. There's a playlist on my channel where you can find the rest of my Pokemon Challenge videos if you want to check those out as well. This was number 31 overall, and number 30 in Pokemon Red, which means we're about halfway done with the challenge videos for this game. Anyways, if you like this kind of content and want to see more, subscribe and enable notifications so you'll know right away the next time one of these episodes is uploaded. And let me know in the comments what other Pokemon you want to see, and I'll probably do it. Next week is Halloween, so in honor of the spookiest holiday, I'll be beating Pokemon Red using only one Ghastly. I think this is another one that's definitely going to surprise people. Anyways, until then, bye!